And you're tuning into this live video because you want to learn more about the process of putting yourself out there, submitting your resume over and over again, and not getting called back. I'm going to show you exactly what to do to hopefully prevent this from happening to you again and really understand why this is the cause in the first place. So, I have some notes here that I'm going to be sharing with you so I can make sure that I cover everything that I want to talk about today. It's only going to take me about 3 minutes. This is a short video. This is what I call career bite-sized pieces, actionable tips that'll help you move forward and be able to hopefully achieve your six-figure career goals. All right, so before we get into that, I do want to let you know if you stay to the end, I have a special surprise gift for you. So once I get to talking about these points, you will kind of understand what you're going to need to do next. And I'm going to give you a free gift that's going to allow you to do that with ease. So you want to make sure that you stay to the end. Now, I've done all this talking and you're probably like, especially if you're new here, who is this girl? I see the name, but who are you? Tell me a little bit more about your story. So, my name is Kirsten Allen, and I am what I call not your average career coach. I am a career fulfillment coach. I help employees, specifically women who are moms and also professionals, really become the CEO of their career. And what does that mean? This means that the women that I coach understand they are essentially selling their skills, their talents, their techniques to the company for the best that they have to offer, right? So they're not just sitting back waiting for things to happen to them. They have taken their skill sets and they go out and get the best offer for them career-wise and move up the career ladder in a way that makes sense for them and their family. So those are the type of people that I work with. And if you resonate with this, then you will benefit from this video and all the ones that I will be producing in the future. All right, so now that we got that out the way, let's jump back into these tips. So I am going to turn over my notes a little bit here and also just give you a little bit more background. So when I was putting this together, I was thinking about my career path. So a little bit more about me and my career path. I actually was very fortunate when I graduated college. I had 4 great dream job offers. And I went with the one that I felt was the best at the time and was able to fast track my career to get 4 promotions within 5 years overall. And also be able to, of course, land that six-figure salary that is so highly coveted. And most recently, I was able to pivot into a dream career that not only allows me to do work that I enjoy, but also to be present for my family and my son, who needs me so much at only 3 years old. So that's a little bit about me. But during the time of my career, I also spent a really exciting part of it being a university recruiter. This was probably one of the highlights. This is when people say work doesn't feel like work. When I was doing that, nothing about it felt like work. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed traveling to go to campuses, to talk to students. I mean, we would do career fairs that was literally 4-6 hours long. And I enjoyed it because I got to talk to students. I got to understand what their passions were. And I got to help guide them to the next step, which I didn't know then, but that really set me up for what I'm doing today. And it really shows me that when I think back over my career, certain things that really lit me up, I'm circling back to those things now. So sidestep point, but hopefully also relevant to you as you're thinking about your career journey. So during that time, I had the opportunity to understand how a recruiter thinks, understand application systems and how when a application is sent in, how it's viewed at each level to get all the way to the hiring process, the negotiation process, and things of that nature. So although that was a little bit ago, I still have this experience and I also still keep in touch with additional recruiters to understand what it's like now. So you're in good company. Trust me, I've been someone who has hired people, who has, went through this process of looking at resumes and figuring out what the needs are with the hiring manager and making sure the candidate pool reflects that. All right, so let's get into why you keep updating your resume but not getting calls back. Especially if you're not getting to at least the initial interview, it's most likely a resume problem. So let's dive into it. Now, when you submit your application for a role, and I'm going to jump back into my recruiter seat and just look at my screen to see all these applications coming in for a particular role, because this will help you understand what this goes through so you know where you may be getting hung up. Recruiters open their platform, whatever their ATS application tracking system is, and they see all these applications for a particular requisition. Now, there are especially now with AI and all these things going on, there are super sophisticated systems that actually go through the applications first to scrub them for particular keywords, for things that matter based on what was put into the system as parameters. And then from there, there's a human, obviously, that goes and looks through and see, based on this next level of people who meet a certain criteria, who do I now want to get on the phone with? So you see how before you even get to a person looking at your application, it could be some type of technical system. And obviously now with AI is probably integrated into this side of business as well, that no human even sees. So if you're constantly getting those immediate emails, yes, someone could be looking at them, but most likely it means that it went through the system and it didn't meet the criteria. So number one piece that you want to make sure that you do is have alignment to the role in your resume. And I know a lot of people may say, tailor your resume. You hear these very general things to do in your career, right? But when I say create alignment to the role, I literally mean, as you look through the descriptions, you need to basically mirror what they're looking for in your resume. And obviously you're not making up things or, fluffing it up. You just want to make sure that in your lens, obviously in your company, you talk about things a certain way, right? At X, Y, and Z company, it could be literally the same thing, but they use a completely different language. I've seen it in many organizations. Companies come up with their own language for different roles that could mean the same thing in a different term, right? So you want to make sure that when you're submitting your resume, you're doing this tailored approach, which I talk about in other videos. You'll hear again my narrow net approach, which is instead of going wide and applying to 50 to 100 roles per week, you're going to apply for 2 to 3. When you're doing this, you want to make sure that on your resume, again, you're mirroring word for word. If they say, we need someone with project management skills in this particular area, you're going to put project management skills in this particular area, if that is something that you have, right? So you want to make sure that it's obviously honest, but you want to be really clear on not just looking at your role from the lens of the company that you're in, but looking at the skill set at large and seeing if that's something that's a match. So again, I've talked about this before, but if you are someone, everything is a project at work, right? So if you're the person who helps keep everyone online and making sure that the stakeholders are all involved, you can call that project management, even if that isn't a term that you use in your particular department or even in your company, which I'm sure you do. Think outside of the box and think, what does this task really translate to in a skill set? And how can I take that and put that terminology on my resume versus just being very broad and general or only thinking about it from the lens of the work that I do every day? So alignment to the role is key. And again, you can use that job description as a very good tool to help you know exactly what you need to put in your resume, but always make sure you stay in integrity and be honest about what it is that you can do, because the worst thing is to fluff up your resume, get into a role and not be able to meet the responsibilities. It's definitely good to learn how to speak about your experience in a certain way, but always remain honest. All right. Number 2, and this is one that I just heard from a recruiter recently and something that obviously made sense when I was a recruiter as well. So this is still super, super relevant and something that people do not do as much. One of the other pieces that I want you guys to remember before I even get to this point is that people are doing less and less and less. So even if you can kind of just do a little bit above average, you are going to put yourself on the top of the stack rank much faster, because people down here are only trying to do the least amount of work. They're cutting corners. They're not doing things to help themselves stand out. So more people are moving to the no pile, and the more you can try to just do a little bit more, just a little bit, something a little bit different, you will find that you will start to get those callbacks, because they're not seeing you as just another person that's in this long list of people who've just clicked applied, gave me the same bland resume, gave me the same generic answers to the questions and click submit, right? So you want to think about that. What can I do to stand out? And that wasn't even in my notes or in my points, but I wanted to make sure that I shared that. So second point is going to be specific examples. And this is something that relates to what I just said, because again, people aren't doing this. They take their resumes as it is. They don't tailor it, or they're applying to so many jobs that they don't have time to tailor it. And they're just sending it off, and it doesn't even make sense or relate to the job. So you need specific examples of things that you have accomplished in your roles, not just what you do every day. I cannot hone in on this enough. You don't want to just talk about the daily activities. You want to be focused on results in your resume. So you want to have specific examples of how you've achieved things that relate to the roles and responsibilities. So I'll give you a example. We'll say social media management may be a potential opportunity that you want to apply to. And in this role, they want someone who's able to manage social media campaigns and deliver a metrics report that tells a story of why the campaign was either successful or not, whatever that is. So instead of just saying, oh, okay, I do social media management, no, tell a specific story on how you ran a campaign on X, Y, and Z. And obviously, you're not going to go into super detail. It's a resume. You talk generally about the campaign that you ran, but what's most important to include in that bullet point is what were the results. So was it a 68% increase in engagement year over year? Were you able to bring in a certain revenue amount based on the engagement, depending on what type of company you may be doing social media for? That's some information that you can gather. So results, metrics, numbers always do well on a resume. Like I've done that for myself. I've seen that being on the other side. Hiring managers, recruiters are going to perk their ears up when they can see results on your resume. So make sure that you have that specificity there. So specific examples is going to make you stand out. It's going to make you move to the top of, again, that list, that short list of people that they decide to move to the next step. Okay, and then for the third piece, it's going to be to get rid of the fluff. Now, this is another piece of that approach that I told you about, of not going wide, but really taking this narrow net approach and only applying to two to three roles, because then you can be able to tailor your resume, make it make sense, but also not have to feel like you have to keep doing it over and over again because you're trying to position yourself for completely different jobs. If you're strategic about this, you should be able to get rid of anything that doesn't align to this role. And it shouldn't be very much, because your role should be pretty much in alignment with what it is that you want to do. And that's the kind of things that I teach people to be able to figure out. But if there's something that you did that obviously you're proud of, it's for part of your job, even if you have results around it, but it's unrelated to the role that you want to do, get rid of it. Time is of the essence. So when a recruiter is reviewing your resume, or even the system is reviewing your resume, you want to make sure that you have the stuff that matters there. So that way it sticks out. It says, oh, this person is exactly who I'm looking for. They're meeting the hiring manager's requirements. I need to move them on. Anything else is just filling space. I'm sure you have enough things to put on your resume so that it's not blank or it's looking like, it's half a page. But at the same time, you don't want to have things there just for the sake of having more bullet points. Really stick to the things that truly matter to the role. And again, that goes back to looking at the description, figuring out what skill sets that you have and how you can translate those moving forward. Now, remember at the beginning, I told you if you stayed to the end, I told you this was going to be a quick video. So just to recap, and I'll put the notes back up for you. The first one was getting alignment to the role and making sure that you're really clear on what it is, the skill sets that you have and how that applies to the particular role that you're looking for, and making sure you use those keywords in your resume to make sure that you get past that application tracking system. Second point was specific examples. Numbers, metrics. What was the result based on the things that you did? How you can help yourself answer this question is, you did X, Y, and Z task, so what? The so what is the results part. So when you think about anything you write in your resume, what is the so what? And that's what you truly want to highlight. And then the third part is getting rid of the fluff. Anything that doesn't make sense, anything that doesn't apply to this particular role, don't put it on there. Just remove it. It's better to be concise and really align with the role than just have a resume full of everything. That's just confusing and going to be the easiest way for you to get moved to the no thanks pile. All right, so when you get this right and you do this on your resume, you don't just want to have it on a piece of paper. You also want to have this in a dynamic place where recruiters can find you, where other people in your network can engage with you and see what it is that you do, what your skill sets are. And guess where you can do that? Does anyone know? Drum roll. Where do you think I'm going to say? LinkedIn, of course. So making sure that your LinkedIn profile is current with this information is going to be key. This is going to help you be able to even move past the ATS system and go directly to the recruiters and have them looking out for your applications. And when you start moving like that, you are in a power position. So you want to make sure that your LinkedIn is not only a place that you keep updated, but also a place where you engage, grow your network, and make sure that your personal brand there is on 10. So if you're like, LinkedIn, I'm not really sure what to do. I get on there, I congratulate a few coworkers, but how can I really leverage it for me? You stay to the end so you have the chance to get a special gift from me. I created a LinkedIn checklist and video training to go along with it to really walk you through this process of optimizing your LinkedIn profile. I came up with a 5-layer approach, and I take you directly through it from top to bottom on what areas you need to be using to optimize your profile so that recruiters, hiring managers, whoever you're looking for to be able to see your profile from a career perspective will not only see what you do, that the people that you're connected with, you'll also get new eyeballs attracted to your profile and have people asking you, when can you get on the phone for an interview? So how is that from going from submitting resumes, not getting called back, to having recruiters filling your inbox wanting to interview you? I don't know. That sounds like thebomb.com. Okay, so since you stay to the end, all you need to do to get this checklist is really simple. You just comment me below and I will send it to you directly. And then from there, you take it, you get your LinkedIn optimized, you follow these steps on your resume, and you should see a completely different scenario from what you were experiencing if you have been submitting your resume and not getting any responses. All right, so I look forward to seeing you on the next edition of these videos. Let me know, as always, what type of results that you're getting. I would love to celebrate you, and follow me on LinkedIn as well. Talk to you soon.